Hi everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. It's time. It's been a long time coming. I just said no, but today it's going to be yes. Yeah, 3 yeses. The Dracaenas are going to become a bonsai forest. So a few years back, my son at school, I think, started with plants probably like this. He was in some FFA classes, and he was given, or his classmates, or him and a buddy, or maybe every student, I don't remember, got a Dracaena plant, and it's been in my collection ever since. And we got a really bad chop right here from a bunny or something. There's a couple of big teeth marks here that have been healing over the last year or so. There's some tough scars over here, but the new branch grew anyway, because just like when we chop a bonsai tree different times of the year with different species, it just grew right back another limb, right? So not a very conducive tree for bonsaiing. But I got the second set of trees from my stepfather and mother. Now, they were having a hard time keeping care of their plants with their 2 cats chewing leaves and stuff. So he said, "Hey Dave, do you want these?" And I said, "Sure." Well, I just love trees and bonsai pots, and I like quirky experiments. And so we're just going to go ahead and we're going to repot these up today and get these into a bonsified status. Now, of the pots I have laying around in my house, I figured this big pot, this blue oval pot, would be a nice tropical style tree. It already is in kind of a turquoise pot, and I do like that. And we have 2 little cute trees over here that we can put this main tree as its main focus, and these 2 summer off to here, and then it'll be the father, daughter, son, the father, son, maybe some twins, yeah. So we're gonna get these out of the dirt. We're going to get them into some bonsai soil, and again, we're going to make them into bonsai trees. I'm really curious to look at the big Dracaena first, because I've had it for so long, and if you look right there, look at the spread of those roots right there. And if you look even closer on this side, there's a whole bunch of little ones forming right there. So we have a decent 360-degree pattern, and we're going to see what's on the inside of this pot. Now look at all that growth down below. We got these great big curly roots that are just going to all have to come on off. And so let's start digging into this tree and seeing what we have. So again, this is going to resemble more of a palm tree kind of style tree, not probably what you'd consider a typical bonsai. But I have to say, this is something that I've talked about a few times in my bonsai journey. The video that I made with the holiday cactus, the Thanksgiving cactus, to date still is my most viewed video. Now, I'm sure that's being watched by a lot of people who are not bonsai enthusiasts, but who like plants, like holiday cactuses, Christmas or Thanksgiving or Easter, and so they've tuned in to check it out, and so that keeps getting views and views and views. Look at how easy that was to distribute. Now, you see all those roots and the gaps in between? Boy, wouldn't that be some fun roots over rocks, right? But we're going to go ahead and we're going to give this thing a nice chopping and get this thing smaller. We do not need all of these roots down here. Big tap root in the middle. And we just cut off all of that root right there. Okay, so now look at the bottom. It's got that root right there in the center. We're cutting that middle one out. Okay. Now we have some former roots that were cut back and nothing else matured from them, so we're going to go ahead and cut those back a little bit. This one right here was going up. It's mostly a hollow little piece of. There we go. Now there's still life there, so I'm going to cut this one now this way and see if we can get some finer roots from there. And we'll go ahead and cut this a little bit finer as well. Get some balance. There we go. So there is our Dracaena, the mother tree, all ready to be in the pot. So we're going to put that back in its, well, we'll just hang it out over here. Now we've got these two in some soil. That probably won't take too long to get deciphered either. I don't know if they've grown together at all or if they will come together. They will come apart just fine. Okay, so we're going to get rid of all of this dirt. Oh, and look at that nice 360-degree root pattern right there. So even just practicing cultivating trees and making your 360-degree patterns, look at that all the way around. All the way around, a nice flat 360 degrees. That's going to be a fun tree. And this one right here, all right. This one has some nice 360-degree pattern on it as well. We got a nice long one here, a couple long ones there. We'll cut those off. Any tap roots? I don't think so. We can kind of spread these roots out in the pot right there. Nice flat root structure. We are good to go with that. So I wish my repotting was always that easy. That is nice. Now, we're going to go ahead and take a quick little peek here. I think if we put this as the front, something like this, you don't see the scar on this one. That could go here. We can have this one over here, and this one over here because it's a little bit bigger. We'll put these two kind of closer together, and this one's standing by itself, so it's not just such a triangle shape like some of my older forests have become. And I've taken note of that and said, hey, you know, I should have these forests spread out just a little bit. They seem a little bit too close together. We have some drainage screens, so let's go ahead and put those in. I have some wire on the table here somewhere. Fell to the ground. Here we go. So we're going to cut a little bit of this wire off to put this in there. There we go. Now these are tropical plants that are going to be in my plant room for the next 4 to 5 months. So we're not going to have high winds by any stretch. So we're going to go ahead and not worry about tying this in. We're just going to make sure that these screens are in there so we don't lose soil through the bottom of the drain holes. And we're going to have a new bonsai forest of the Dracaenas. So we have our drainage screens all ready to go. We're going to put some bonsai soil in there. Let's go out inside and get some more. Now this one's a little top heavy, so we might need some rocks to hold this one in. But we can cradle this one in right about here. I think something like that. And then I'll go ahead and let's just get that a little solid in the ground there. Now we have those nice roots. I want to show them off a little bit. We might raise this tree up a little bit, but we're going to see if we have enough soil here to plant these other two trees. So this one, I think, has a nice curve that way. Oh, that's the thicker one. We're going to have that one over here. There we go. There's that one. Nice little bend that way. And then this one back over here can just be, we can have it bend in the same way. So there's some little bit of symmetry there. All right. So we might need just a little bit more soil to get up on top here and give these a nice, comfortable, stable home. And again, I might have to put some rocks on here. So I'm bringing up the big tree up to the surface a little bit more because we have a nice nebari established with this one. So as you see, as I bring that up to the surface there, we can see the nice flare right there. And we want to see that. And I can tuck in some of the dirt underneath there, or the soil rather. And that one will be sitting real nice right there. And it's not perfectly straight, which I don't mind. Okay, I can raise these just a little bit as well. But these have younger roots, so they just have to form first before we can expose some of those roots. This has a little bit of a flare as well. Not much, but it's there. All right, let me take a peek as you're seeing it. All right, so we have the main tree up front here. This one's actually a little bit further up front, but we got this pair off to the side. You could also look at it this way, with this one off to the side and this one kind of a front center figure. Either way, I think it's fine right now just to see what these trees can do. Now, I probably should bring these down a little bit and get a chop, but because I just got rid of all of the roots on this one, almost all of them, and these I just made smaller, and so they got the nice 360 pattern on these. We just want these to get that first, adherence to the soil, right? We want to get it all situated nice, get a nice grab a hold, and weave its way through these roots. We'll water this really good right now. I think I might even bring this to the shower to give it a good watering. But I'd rather use my water from the dehumidifier. So I'll do that. I'll give it a good squirt, and we'll do it in the bathroom though, so I can do it in the shower so the water can drain right through. We'll bring it right back and have a final look at it together. The Dracaenas are in the pot. I got them good and watered. Got a big, nice, jagged rock here that kind of hugs the base of the tree here, right there, and a couple of rocks here to give it a little bit of weight. And we gave this thing a nice drink, and it looks pretty good. So, as I mentioned earlier, this one was chopped off by a critter, and then the whole new branch just grew up. So I know that I can chop this, but I won't chop it now because I have so few roots down there. I want to get those roots established. And these have some decent roots, but they're so small. I certainly could probably give it a little chop up here and see if I got two more branches to grow and subdivide. But I want them to grow too. So I'm just going to leave this all in here. I don't think I'm going to cut any branches off, and we'll put this under the lights and we'll see what happens with the Dracaenas. So a fun house plant. A lot of people have them as house plants. They are kind of an evergreen shrub that are going to stay green all throughout the season. And again, whenever I put these outside, the leaves would not do well at first in the direct sun. So if you put these outside, these Dracaenas in the summertime, make sure they're in really good shade for a good solid couple of weeks before you even try to put them into more sunshine. And then I think a part sun, part shade situation will make these not burn out and you'll get more growth. Now, this top of this tree is really nice and pink and a lot of lush new growth, so it's loving life in the plant room here. We've got a lot of foliage up here. I think we could pluck it up maybe right down to here. There we go. And we'll be cutting this one down further in the future, but we'll just go ahead and do that for now to get that a little bit lower for the lights. And we'll be in good shape. The cats really love chewing on these too, so I certainly have to make sure they stay out of this room. All right. Cut off just a couple of these branches that are kind of fighting with each other. There we go. All right. So the Dracaenas have been bonesified, and time to find their place on the workbench over there. A quick update for you today are the cuttings from the Triangularis variegated ficus tree that I just put into a nice new spot with much less foliage on there and trimmed up really nice. And so here are the cuttings. I've got 7 cuttings in here. We'll see how many survive in the plant room, but good and watered, ready to go. Here is the triangulated variegated ficus. Some cuttings to hopefully become trees someday. My next update for today's show is the Portulacaria afra cuttings from a couple of weeks back. So I cut back all the PAs to make more room so I could water everything better, and I moved my lights around so the PAs are really loving life over there in that part of the plant room, and I had all these cuttings. And so I just left them in my room for about a week. I didn't touch them at all, and then I put them into this, what was a kitty litter box perhaps, but there's holes in the bottom, good drainage. I've got some recycled bonsai soil in there, and all of the PAs are in here. I think there's over 35, 40 in here, and all of them seem to be doing pretty good. A couple of them are drooping a little bit, but the leaves are there. They're perking up a little bit. I've just given them just a little bit of water, a bit of a mist or two here and there, and yeah, we're going to see how this crop of PAs does over the course of the fall and winter months in the plant room. There's update number 2. I'm going to wrap up the show today with the Portulacarias that I put into a pot months ago. So one of my summer prunes, so I've cut my PAs twice in the last few months. This last summer prune, I put 35 or 36 cuttings into the tray here, and every single one of them survived, and they're starting to push up a ton of growth in the plant room. So they've sprung up from the summer cutting planting and now in the plant room, and they're all big tall twigs. I could let them grow a little bit longer, but I'm just going to go ahead and give them all just a little bit of a haircut real quick, and we'll get these under the grow lights, because again, they're loving life here in the plant room. They're starting to bifurcate down lower, and we're going to make bigger, wider trees, and these will go into individual pots at some point, or perhaps a jumbo forest, I'm not sure. So I'm going to just do this. We're just going to go ahead and cut the tips off, and we're going to see these trees start to bifurcate, make two where there was one, promote the lower growth, and then we'll be in good shape. So the PAs for me have grown really, really well indoors. So if you're looking for a plant that you just don't know for indoors, you know, you're not sure what you wanted to do for indoors with the tropical varieties that are out there, I highly recommend the Portulacaria afras here. They grow really well with the artificial light, really well with the artificial light. Some of this growth in here is these top 2 inches or so is since I had them in the plant room here. And so I'm just giving them a nice, big, aggressive haircut here. And look at this, I could even put these in the more plantings, and I'd be having Portulacarias coming out of my ears. But I want them to start to ramify a little bit and get those lower branches to grow. So to do that, I'm cutting off the tops. So it'll get a little bit more of that oxen. It'll push things around, the hormones, and I'll get some branching down there for hopefully some good primary branches. There's a couple real big solid ones here in the middle. And there we go. So we've given this a haircut. We've cut all of them down, and they're going to continue to grow really nice in the plant room. Yeah, there we go. That's all I wanted to do. And so now in a couple of months, I probably will get to prune these again, and then we'll get them ready for the spring. So it's only early November. We get a nice prune on this now, and then we'll get a prune on it in probably January, and then we'll bring them outside after 3 months of growth, probably after January or February, whenever I make that next prune. So I'm super glad that all of these survived, 100% success rate. And again, we cut them off the original tree. We let them sit for about a week. We put them in soil, didn't water them for another couple of days, except for maybe some misting, and slowly gave them a little bit of surface water so we wouldn't rot out anything, new roots in the bottom. And we have now another forest of Portulacarias. This is several months old. The one I just showed you for the update is only a week or so old, right? Let's put this back on the shelf. There's not a whole lot I love more than working on a couple of trees after a nice hard week at work at school. It was kind of a crazy week at work. The kids were, they're getting a little tired. It's the end of quarter number 1 today when I'm filming this. Quarter 1 of 4 is done, and the kids need a long break, and so do us teachers. We have a nice 4-day break from the kids. They have a 4-day break from us. We go back on Monday for some professional development. We got a grading day, and then we start all again with quarter number 2 on Wednesday of next week. So I'm kicking off the weekend here with some work in the plant room at the end of a first quarter of work, and we're a quarter of the way there, and that means we're only 3 more quarters away from the summer again. Oh, there's a lot of bonsai things to do between now and then. But until then, hey, take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we'll see you soon on the next one.